Well, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon to you all. Welcome to Tech Talk with Zyxel. My name is Tri Nguyen. I am Zyxel's Market Development Manager and Sales Manager here at Zyxel North America. And I've been here for now about 16, 17 years now, I think, with over 22 years of experience in the networking industry. So I'd like for this to be just a great time for us to be interactive. You can use the Q&A section. Just by a quick show of hands, my audio is fine with my voice. You could hear me just okay. Just raise your hand if everything's good. Good to see you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Brian. Hey, David, Greg, Jeff, Martin, nice to see you guys as well. Thank you for being here. So I haven't done this in a little bit. Obviously we've had a lot of things going on. We are still working remote. We're still staying safe, but business is as busy as ever. I don't know about you and your current business, how things are going, but hopefully that it's starting to pick up for you. We're starting to see that pick up over the last quarter, tremendous pickup. So a lot of activity going on. I think people in the Q2 were pretty much waiting on a hold and see what's going on. And of course, things started to maybe open up or relax a little bit, that allowed for a lot of partners to go and do installations and move on with projects that were on hold in the Q2 timeframe. So looking forward to the Q4 with you all as partners. But again, if you'd like to ask any questions, use the Q&A and let's get some interaction. Let's go ahead and move on. Today, we're going to be talking about flexing network security with the USG Flex. If you guys already are selling USG Flex, that's great. But I wanted just to do a quick introduction in case there was somebody here who didn't know or maybe was newer to Zyxel. We are a company called Zyxel Networks. You may have known us as Zyxel Communications. That's still a portion of our company, but we've split off into a channel-based side of the business. So we are Zyxel Networks. We comprise of 30 years of networking experience, 100 million devices making connections. We have over 600 employees worldwide serving 150 markets with 700,000 businesses using our product solutions. We're recognized for our innovation and our design throughout the world, all of our products being designed by our hardware software engineers, both in Taiwan, in the US, and then in other R&D areas. We are also certified with ICSA for our security appliances for over the last 20 years continuously. So 20 years straight being certified with ICSA, and we're just one of the few vendors who can tout that achievement. We are solutions driven. We work with partners like yourself to provide us information on what you need in the field, what your customers are wanting to use, or how to make things easier, how they can work better for your applications, either on a management standpoint, for a feature standpoint. And because we do, a lot of our employees are actually in the R&D and in our design team in Taiwan, we have an ecosystem that allows for us to create and make products and feature functions that can fit your needs. So we look forward to your feedback, and we offer a comprehensive portfolio, end-to-end solution. I pretty much tell partners anything that can connect to a network, we have some sort of solution for that. Security appliances, wireless solutions, switching networks for fiber or PoE, gateway access for hospitality, and network management, both in standalone mode and in the cloud. So today I wanted to cover, again, just the importance of security needs. And especially now, I think more and more people, I get a lot of feedback from people who are now working in the, or trying to secure kind of remote environments. I know over the last few months, people have been in the work from home kind of stages, and VPN, encryption, and also just basic network security of the home network has become part of the conversation, right? People are doing business, and IT managers and managed service providers are having this problem that in a home network, it's typically much more, wide open. It's open so that, you can get your TVs to connect much easier. It's really kind of an open area. There is security in the Wi-Fi, but, interaction between those kinds of networks can be pretty wide open, so that you can find those different devices, so that you can stream to those devices as well, right? But in the business sense, it's all about kind of making sure that things that need to go where they need to go or allowed to go are the only ones that go, So in that kind of scenario, businesses are finding different issues, how to lock down so that they don't see a TV device, either through the tunnel, or a TV device or some other device on the home network trying to get to a corporate network, or maybe even one of the devices at home is compromised and is trying to access the business network. So there's a lot of challenges there. And so businesses have to think about that and how to secure that remote access to the office and yet still provide productivity for the employee who's working remotely, and also have all the tools that they need, but doing it so in a very secure way and also in a very fast way. I think a lot of us have also realized that as well. A lot of the businesses, the speeds that are required at the businesses to serve these home customers who have, hundreds of or they're used to hundreds of megabits per second kind of throughput, is now kind of facing a usability kind of issue. But really, small businesses still have to worry about threats, right? They could either be coming from the internal network from the home, or could be from the internet. Small businesses think they're too small for any kind of cyber attack. A lot of people just trust that, hey, I'm not going to get attacked, I'm just too small for that. But what they don't understand is that the internet is just public. It will attack anybody who is available. So it's just a matter of time that you may be subject of that threat. Now, 47% of small businesses have no understanding how to even protect themselves. And I think it feels like it's the responsibility of vendors like myself to help to educate, more people, educate not just the end users, but also to educate partners who can then bring that message of education and also provide it as a service to their customers, to make sure that their networks are locked down, secure, and provide kind of a safe access for that, and be able to mitigate threats and attacks that may cause the business to have a break in productivity. 60% of small businesses that are victim of cyber attacks go out of business within 6 months. I mean, we kind of see that even now when you have to shut down any kind of business. A lot of the small businesses out there are there's no way to kind of continue on, as every day. Luckily for us at Zyxel, we are a networking company and we are a tech company. So we have a lot of the technologies and the abilities to just work remote. In fact, most of the time we are working remote anyways, as we're traveling, as we're visiting customers. We're all doing that already on a day-to-day basis. So, being in a home or remote office environment for us, it's really not a big change to what we normally do. But some businesses are forced to be, either in person or in a scenario that they have to be there or hands-on. And if their company network goes down, or even their machines or the computer gets compromised and something gets locked down, or things need to get reinstalled and re-backed up, that's a lot of productivity time that is lost. And in a lot of cases, sometimes the businesses will end up going out of business because of that. Either the costs are too high to recoup all of the damages that may have been done. 43% of breach victims are small businesses. So again, it's still attack, not just the big guys, but also a lot of the little businesses are the ones that get attacked. And again, they're the ones who are probably in most need. They don't have the expertise, they don't have the IT that can help them to make these decisions. So a lot of times, they go out to just a brick and mortar store. They just go online and just order something that says it's a firewall, and that should be good enough. But we know as security professionals like yourselves that is definitely not enough. Right? There was a 424% increase in small business cyber breaches last year. So I don't see that trend. The more that people are unprotected, the more likely it's going to be attacked. Every 39 seconds, there's a hacker attack, and 54% of small businesses don't have a plan in place to react to cyber attacks. So again, no plan, no idea what to do. So it's just a matter of time. I do have a poll. No, I forgot to put up a poll, but I usually ask, what kind of cyber attacks have your customers experienced? If you have an answer, feel free to use that in the chat right now. Just type that in to the chat. What kind of cyber attacks have your customers experienced? Is it malware? Is it ransomware? Is it just even phishing emails or content filtering where they're going to malicious websites? Anything like that, right? That's typically what happens for most people, and sometimes they don't even realize that their connection or even their business has been compromised. But there's a lot of those cyber attacks that are out there, and hopefully you've been able to mitigate that. If not, we do have solutions for you. Well, more applications, especially in the remote, there's a continued need for speed, right? We are in this kind of this shift where speeds are getting really fast, really high. Your firewalls or your previous generation firewalls don't have the capacity to meet those speeds. So you kind of have a dilemma. You either have to remove security, or you have to increase, or or you just have to live with a lower operating speed, right? So if you're trying to make sure that, or I guess there's another option, you then have, or you have to spend a lot more money to buy a much higher end product just to fulfill those needs. Of course, networks, especially in the home, or even from an average user, 3 or 4 devices per person is now kind of a normal thing. You have your laptop, you may have your PC, sorry, you have your mobile device, your tablets. So that's already 3 devices right there. Then you're talking about another, maybe a phone. Then all of a sudden there's a lot of devices that are doing voice, video, data applications, different kind of aspects of that. Of course, your network is also then having to still do backups, doing PC configurations and remote access, even while it's in a remote environment. So how do you get that kind of backup to happen, either to the cloud or through a VPN tunnel, or do it in a very secure way? It's also easy now for people to test their speeds. They can just go to like speedtest.net, do a quick speed test, and realize, hey, my connection I have is, a 300 meg connection. Why is my firewall, or why am I only getting, 100 megs? So it's really easy for that to be exposed in some of the older generation firewalls. So you either have to then upgrade to a new one that can make sure that it can manage that, or if the price budget's too high, they would have to then basically choose a device of a certain speed, and that would be their max speed that they can get for those services. And of course, as you know, more UTM services, more means more security functionality, means more scanning, means more CPU, means the hardware has to either be much more powerful, or you'll end up with lower throughput performance for doing, out of the same box that you had before. But of course, that's why we want to introduce to you the USG Flex series. It's precise, flexible protection. This is how you can flex your network security by using USG Flex. Zyxel's basically brought our beloved USG series into the next generation of hardware and performance, and also some additional feature functionalities that allow for it to do UTM much more efficiently as well. It's a high performance hardware built on performance that can achieve almost 500% better throughput than that of a USG series on UTM. So even just apples to apples comparison, straight up UTM performance between the USG series and the new Flex series, you'll see in some cases up to 500%. So 5 times the performance. We have enhanced UTM functionalities as well, with enhanced from the typical traditional UTM. And that includes access to some counterterrorism, referral unit filterings, botnet filtering, a lot of those kinds of different functions that really secure your network. Flexible management, being able to use the web interface or command line interface to manage your device. Now I get to let you know that also we have on the plan and on the schedule, as many of you probably have already asked us, the USG Flex will go to Nebula, and that will happen in the Q1 of this coming year. So just keep that will be part of just an upgrade in terms of a firmware upgrade, and it will allow for you to immediately get access to the Nebula Cloud, both in a free way for management and also in a professional management capability like you have now. And so built into the devices as well is the wireless controller. So if you're using it in standalone mode, this is a really great way for you to be able to deploy switches and access points into that network and be able to control that all from the interface of this device itself. So we wanted to introduce also an enhancement that we've made to the firmware and to the usage of the USG Flex, or introduced when we introduced the USG Flex. USG also can take advantage of this, but the USG Flex is of a higher performance hardware And so its performance can be much higher than the USG. So you could still buy and sell the USG series today, and that will be ongoing for just a little bit while longer, especially if you're just looking for, hey, it's the connection or the speed of the current USG is more than enough for the application that you're doing, then it would be pretty cost effective for you to use the USG. Or if you're not worried about doing a lot of UTM functionalities, the USG series would be perfect for that still as well. But the USG Flex is all about getting to that level of flexibility of whether you want to do no security or with security. And we've introduced Express Mode that uses a cloud query application that can really speed up to 2 times the performance of your normal signature-based UTM. And this uses basically cloud AI and threat management in the cloud to develop and get information from files that may or may not be infected, and use that information rather than scanning each one of the files that come through. All right, so it makes it very, much quicker, much higher performance and throughput than what you would see with your typical stream-based UTM. And so you get to choose within the USG and the USG Flex series whether you want to do the typical stream mode, or if you want to go to a cloud query mode. Now the ATP series, which is our flagship security appliance that we've been selling for the last, I think, 1.5 years or so, almost 2 years. Those come with the ability to do both cloud and stream-based scanning. So if you want ultimate security and ultimate speed, then the ATP series is for you. But of course, we want you to be in that flexible space of where the USG is. And here's just some advantages and disadvantages. In Express Mode, you just have to keep in mind that it does require an internet connection. So in order for it to get that cloud query. So it won't work in an isolated environment with no internet. And also mutants like malware could be skipped. So if there's some signatures or the hash is not available in the cloud yet, then it will still pass. And that's kind of normal for that kind of application. But the services that we use through McAfee and partnerships with them and some other security vendors, we get the ability to use cloud and AI to find out those files and those threats fairly quickly. And especially if you're using our sandbox technology and some of other devices, those will also share that information as well to the cloud. Up to 2 times performance increase for UTM. The threat will evolve, of course, through the AI in the cloud. Now, the deep scan mode in the stream, it does support offline protection. It's better when there are mutant malware detection for those. And the throughput limited, the disadvantage is that the throughput, it can be limited by the hardware. So it can only perform just as fast as whatever the hardware is able to scan those files. And the number of signatures are also limited by the hardware. The Express Mode is using the cloud, and so there are billions upon billions of signatures and information of hash files that are in the cloud that the firewall uses. Now, of course, if you use it in hybrid mode, you're getting the best of both worlds. So it has the best level of protection, but it does have a higher cost because you are having to buy the higher end appliance like the ATP, and then also the bundled series for that. So just looking straight up on the performance, if you just compare some of the models, the USG Flex 100, the 200, and the 500 versus its counterparts in the USG series, UTM and firewall performance is much increased. So firewall performance can be up to 150%, and the UTM performance is about 480% to 500%. And we've partnered with some of the leading security specialists out there: McAfee, Webroot, Lastline, Trend Micro, Bitdefender. These are all the different vendors that are working behind the scenes and working with our engines to provide the firewall with some of the best security services that are available out there in the market. So here is some of our portfolio of our USG Flex. It matches our ATP. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you already have been selling the USG Flex since I think we relaunched it about in the July timeframe? So that's where, again, we also started seeing a big uptick of overall sales of security appliances and the entire network. So thank you, Daniel. Um, so the USG Flex, just from a naming and positioning standpoint, it matches up and aligns with our ATP series. So you'll see an equivalent ATP 100, ATP 200, and ATP 500 as well in the market today. Now the USG Flex 100, it's all, and the different levels are just about a performance, security firewall, and also the UTM throughputs. You can see on the USG Flex 100, it's rated at 380 megabits per second on enhanced mode, and 250 megabits when you're using the stream mode of the UTM performance. So it just kind of gauges that. Now, of course, you have to make sure, depending on your application, you have to take that number, because these are the max theoretical throughputs. Just so you understand, we basically put through a standard test, an RFC standard test of throughput, where we maximize the packet size. So we put the biggest pipe possible on every session and on every device. And it could be multiple devices. It simulates multiple devices at the same time and pushes that through the firewall to see what its breaking point is. And so that's where we get these numbers. But on real life applications, packet sizes are not just, 1452 size bytes, packet size. They range anywhere from 64 bytes all the way up to that max number. And so the average typical iMix kind of throughput that people would typically see on a normal usage, I always gauge it about 50% of that number. So you see a data sheet says 250, it's probably rated well for 100 to 150 megabit per second customer who has that kind of WAN connection. Again, you want there are some additional like buffers and some room there, but again, it depends on what kind of applications. If you're using applications that use very small packet sizes, maybe like voice and things like that, then it may be of an overall lower throughput. But luckily for voice, it doesn't need a very high throughput bandwidth in order for it to work. So there's just those trade-offs. Again, you want to be able to kind of use your gauging. If you have certain applications that you test for, make sure you test for it and see if that's a good fit. That's really important on speccing it out. You don't want to underspec a deployment and then have to go back and then either change it out because their speed is much higher than what you expected it to be. All right, so we will also release additional models as well. We've also released a USG Flex 100W that's coming out, I think, November. That should be available in the market. And it comes with a Wi-Fi access point. Now, people have asked me if any other models would have a Wi-Fi solution. And in fact, we don't have any additional models. No, we don't have any other plans for models that have Wi-Fi built in. Mostly the reason is that a lot of the models like a USG Flex 200 and above, because of its throughput and because of its size capacity that it can handle, it typically is used and installed in like a server rack anyways, like in a closet or somewhere where actual Wi-Fi antennas that are connected to it would probably provide poor coverage. In a home office environment where you would use a USG Flex 100, that kind of size, Wi-Fi does make sense because then it's just within kind of a smaller area. But in a business that may have 10, 20 employees typically, or maybe up to 50 employees, then you typically would end up having multiple access points. And that's why we've integrated the access point controller into the USG Flex and into our security appliances. So then you can manage those access points that are out where, where the employees are or where those devices are out there. So we try to make it that way, so that way you can still manage and still get benefit. And the other benefit is that Wi-Fi technology tends to change much more, much more quickly than the security hardware appliance itself. So it makes more sense that you have the flexibility to switch out any access points technologies in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years from now. Whereas the firewall will be perfectly good for you. These typically have life cycles of up to 5 or even more years. Our USG series before is, I think it's on its 6th or 7th year of product life, and that's one of the reasons why as well it's getting a refresh as well. Joe asked the question: is the Flex 100 rack mountable? It is not rack mountable. The 100 is not. If you want rack mountable, you have to go up to the 200 or above. The USG Flex could just sit in a cabinet. It's just really small. If you've seen our USG 40 series, It's pretty much of the similar dimensions of our USG 40, which is also not rack mountable. You know, that is one of our most popular devices out there, especially for kind of the small businesses where they just may even have that in kind of the office space area, or at a desk on someone's desk, or maybe on the IT desk that's still serving and doesn't need to be in a server room. And so those are typically, USG Flex is good for like a, you know, 5 to 20 user type environments, or even on a home office environment as well. Now, I wanted to let you know and inform you about our security services and understanding how it migrates from the USG to the USG Flex. Of course, you may have a lot of customers that are out there, and this is actually a big opportunity for you. If you already have a lot of customers that use USG, their natural inclination and their natural acceptance of an upgrade would go to like a USG Flex, because they've already been used to a USG series. They know of those kinds of services that are available there. So moving to a USG Flex, excuse me, to a higher end model is kind of a natural phase, a natural movement. Sorry, I don't get to talk as long, as much when I'm remote nowadays. So this is good practice though. All right, so we wanted to inform you on how it migrates from the USG, and it gives you an opportunity to go to your customers and not have to wait for licenses to expire on their old USGs to get them to upgrade. Now we have trade-in programs, trade-up programs, and we'll have some promos that will be going out probably at the end of the year or beginning of next year, as well to kind of help you with delivering the message to your customers who are using the USG model line, and how to get them to move to the USG Flex. And so again, like I said, you don't have to wait to upgrade them now. We've made it simple for you to migrate from the USG series to the USG Flex. You're able to move your active security services to the new platform. Now, of course, we've done something that's pretty cool as well. Let's say, for example, throughout the service cycle of your customer, they got different services at different times, or they've activated. So this is kind of an extreme case, but it just wants to show you an example of even in this kind of extreme case. Most of the time, your customers are on a yearly cycle. They've bought the whole bundle of all the UTM services. They've activated it already. So they typically will end and terminate at the same time. But in this particular example, we just wanted to show that, let's say web filtering, you still had 7 months left, antivirus, you only had 2 months left, and you wanted to upgrade them to the USG Flex. So what we've done is that when you do upgrade to the USG Flex, we will extend all the other services to what was the most number of months that you had left, free of charge. So the longest period that's out there was the web filtering. So even though anti-malware only had 2 months left, we're going to go ahead and upgrade and code terminate them all the way to 7 months, which is what the content filtering had, just to match up to everything else, make it nice and clean for you as a partner, but also can be a benefit. They're getting extra months for free of that services. And of course, if you buy the bundled version, so we'll have hardware USG Flex that does not come with any services. They're just kind of the regular. And then we have a SKU that's called like a USG Flex 100 bundle. And that comes with 1 year of security services. Now, of course, if they're transferring their 7 months, we add that all together. So in this example, you get 12 months of UTM services from your bundle that you bought, plus the 7 months that is transferred from your old USG to this new device. So really it gives you a kind of a no-brainer way. If they want to get to a higher speed, they don't have to wait 7 months or wait, you know, or feel like they've wasted those services or that service time that they've already paid for. And of course, from you, if you are a managed service provider, this is great as well, because you've now been able to kind of get additional time that you're still charging your customers on monthly fee anyways. So now you get to give them a benefit, and you may get a benefit, or you're passing those savings on to your customer to get them to upgrade. And so service migration mapping, USG 40s map over to the Flex 100 and 100W. The USG 60 and 60Ws will go over to the 200. The USG 110 goes to the 500. Also, the 210 is getting consolidated into also the 500. And the USG 310 is going to be mapped over to the USG Flex 700. And that's going to be also available in the November timeframe for the USG Flex 700. And how do you do this? It's all done in the My Zyxel. If you guys already are using our security appliances, you are going to My Zyxel in order to activate your services, manage your customers, and all those things as well. But we've introduced recently what we call Marketplace. And I'll show you an example of that. We'll go over to that screen in just a second. But it allows for you to manage your customers and buy services without having to now deliver any kind of keys. It's a basic keyless, a keyless service that lets you activate licenses. So it's a keyless activation within My Zyxel. Now, very important thing is that in order for you to make this kind of work for you to manage your customers, you want to request for Reseller View. If you do not know what that is, or do not know that if you have it or not, please send a message to your sales rep. Usually at the very top, if you log into your myzyxel.com page, at the very top, if you do not have the Reseller View, it will say at the top, it says request Reseller View. So if you click on that and you request for it, we get an email, your sales rep will get a notification, and we will then process that to give you approval. We basically have to approve you. The reason why we have to approve you is because now, once approved, your name, your company name for that account can be found in the list of VARs when people are submitting their devices into the My Zyxel. So when they're activating licenses. So what you end up doing is you go get your Reseller View approved, and then any devices that you are managing for your customers, if they, or if you're managing it, make sure to choose your VAR name in the VAR field when you set up your customer's device. What that allows for you to do is in your My Zyxel and in your marketplace, have visibility into the licenses of those devices and be able to actually purchase licenses and activate them for those devices. So you get to manage your customers. And I'll show you what it looks like in My Zyxel and in Marketplace in just a second. Now, Marketplace allows for you to also buy security licenses, like I said, without keys, and activate them directly to those devices. And you also want to make sure that if you want access to Marketplace to do this kind of service, to again reach out to, maybe in the same email when you reach out to your sales rep, that you want to be added to Marketplace so that you can get your discounts. We will have discount pricing tiers like your current gold, silver, bronze tiers loaded in Marketplace, but we have to activate you. We have to approve you basically into Marketplace so that when you log in, you'll see your discounted prices. Now, there's also a kind of a different kind of weird thing as well. We also have a Marketplace Express that allows for you to buy some of the standalone, some of the third party, or some of the other licenses that are not third party, but the client devices for your VPN, for SSL VPN, those kind of one-time charges. We have what we call Marketplace Express, and you'll see that, and I'll show you a link of what it looks like as well to buy those VPN and also Nebula credit points for services for Nebula. And those is kind of a different, it's like a different platform because it's not applying the services directly to the device. It's giving you actually a key at that point so that you can load into your VPN client or load into the Nebula platform. Of course, the Nebula platform, we're going to integrate it into the Marketplace, so it allows for you to directly buy licenses or points and stuff like that for those Nebula devices. But until then, you have to use Marketplace Express. And once you get your account set up in Marketplace, you'll have a Marketplace Express coupon. And some information on how to use that coupon to get your discounts will be in kind of the information that we send to you. So definitely use that. You just have to use your My Zyxel email address as your coupon. Also, when you request for Marketplace access and the Marketplace discount, make sure you provide your My Zyxel email address, because that's the one that we will use to activate your pricing and also activate your coupon for the express portion of Marketplace. So let me share what it looks like real quick here. Where is that? Okay, here. All right, so hopefully, are you able to see? I'm not sure if you can see it. Raise your hand if you can see my Zyxel screen at this point. It's that window, right? Okay, great. Okay, so once you log on to My Zyxel, you'll notice that there are, when you have Reseller View, you'll notice you'll have an additional information on the left side. I actually have a lot more because this is kind of the master account that can see a lot of the different devices in there, but you should be able to see like reports and things like that when you have Reseller View. Because you are able to then do reporting of the devices, to see which ones are expiring. You can actually see a table list of all the devices, all the services, all the expirations, or you can say, hey, give me a report on all my services or all my devices that are expiring this month. And it gives you kind of an action item that then you can go and call upon these customers and make sure that you know, their renewal is going to be done. It's just revenue there that for you to just harvest pretty much. But you'll notice at the top, there is a marketplace link. And when you click upon the marketplace link, it will take you to the marketplace design or the marketplace site itself. At the top, you'll see where you could buy the SSL VPN or the IPsec VPN client services, as well as Nebula will be able to be purchased up here as well. And this takes you to the Marketplace Express. It's kind of like an outside, a third party, not a third party store, but it's a third party hosted store for us that allows for you to buy those kind of one-time licenses for VPN, for Nebula, for SSL. So you have to use your coupon in order to see those discounts there. But if you've already set up Marketplace in your account, then the devices that you're managing will show up in here. And so you'll see the list of devices that are managed directly within your account. And then if you click over the client list, which I won't click over because there are other, you know, people or clients that picked Zyxel as their managing device. But if you click over there, you'll see a list of those people. And those are the people who have chosen your company name and filled it out inside the device when they set up the device for in My Zyxel. So again, it could either be the end user that sets up My Zyxel and chooses you as the managing kind of VAR, or you as the managed VAR set up yourself as the managing VAR. And that allows for you to centrally then log on to your My Zyxel account here and manage all those. Now here's the thing. If you see that there will be like different licenses, update status. So here it's all red. You can click on it to find out what it is. And it will show you what devices, what services have expired, how many days are left, the current kind of license situation. And let's say you want to renew this license. So you would just click on this particular one, let's say for example, and if you go down to next, you click on next, it goes into, well, I guess I have to re-log in. It's been timed out. It's loading all of my different devices into that view screen right now. All right, so here we go. If I go click on that one and I go to next, what it does automatically is that it adds the bundle to kind of the checkout process, right? Now, people have asked, well, how do I buy individual licenses? And you can see here, it's just a bundled license. This is the full MSRP of the 5-in-1 security pack for the USG series. If you want to add it to cart, you can go ahead and add it to cart, but you can click into it and see the different licenses. So here's the bundle, and you could see everything is selected already, so you can't change it. Or if you want to buy individual VPN tunnel upgrades or the hotspot management here. But if you want to just choose individual services, all you got to do is check on this, uncheck the box, and then it opens up the individual licenses. So that way you can just buy anti-spam and content filtering if that's what you want to do, right? And then of course you go confirm that. You can go add to the cart. and then you can go through a checkout process. And now the cool thing is once you've gone through the checkout process, there's nothing else for you to do. That particular device gets activated, or if you're adding multiple devices, you can add multiples at a time, check out, confirm the order, pay for it, and that's it. You don't have to worry about sending and going back into My Zyxel to add a license key to activate it. You know, there's a lot of that. Also, it also eliminates completely your chances of buying the wrong service for the wrong device. You know, we've had customers who did that where they would buy kind of a USG 40 license and then try to apply it to a USG 60 license, right? So, and that just, you know, we have to do RMAs, we have to do returns and all that kind of stuff. So this really removes that process and removes that, that kind of mistake. So you're buying directly for that device, that serial number of the device itself. And of course, the serial number information, the MAC address information can also be found on the device when you log into it as well. So when you log onto the device, but this will automatically detect every device that you have registered in My Zyxel. So that allows for you to do all that within here. All right. So that's pretty much what Marketplace allows for you to do. Again, you have to make sure you request to our sales rep so that we can add you to the pricing plan, because we didn't go ahead and add all partners because we also didn't know what email addresses, you know, each one of you partners are using to manage your My Zyxel customers. So rather than just adding everybody into the system that may not use it, you know, we wanted to make sure that those who are going to use Marketplace get access to it. Much like Digital River, if you used Digital River before, we had to go through an approval process to make sure that you got the information you needed. And that way we could have you all set up for that. And of course, your pricing plans will be all loaded into the Marketplace. So you should be able to see those discounts as you buy. If you don't, then of course, reach out to us and we'll see what's up and we'll fix that for you. All right, so any other questions for that? All right, let's go back to our main screen here. Where is that? Here we go. Joe's asking, is Digital River no longer used? That's correct. Digital River is no longer available to be used at this moment. So you have to buy through Marketplace, or you would have to go through your distribution. So you could still buy these license keys as license keys themselves through distribution if you're just wanting to stock them or have them on hand, or you just want to take them and go load on a device that maybe you're not the managing customer for. The other way to do it as well is, as long as you can log into the account to which that device belongs, you can also purchase it, but they also have to be a partner approved in order to get the partner pricing, right? So the best way is to be able to log into your, let's say you have a new customer that has a Zyxel device, you would ask them to approve of and request that your company be the managing. And so there's actually a trigger capability of that. You, as a client, you can actually request your device to be managed by a partner. So they can type in, you know, the VAR's name and request for it if they are not the one who typically manages it. And you actually get an email that says, so-and-so wants to request you as the managed provider. Do you want to accept? So that way you can accept the device into your management system and see it, and it pops up in your management. Craig says the new Marketplace requires the latest firmware on your Zyxel device. It does not. Marketplace doesn't necessarily need that. It's just the licensing portion of it. So you don't typically need to. Now there's a lot of services and functionalities that the USG uses now, especially for the express mode, that you need to get to the, it doesn't have to be the latest, but one of the later firmwares that allows for you to have that access. Otherwise, Marketplace is kind of independent. It works with My Zyxel in the back end directly. So what Marketplace basically is doing is it gets your payment information, it finds what licenses are available, and once you've paid for it, it triggers the My Zyxel side to just increase your license number, you know, for an additional year for those services. And so your device itself will just get its normal update, you know, on its licensing services when it does a check to the My Zyxel side. and be updated and activated for that new service. So there's nothing else you have to do. So Joe says, my older client's devices shows inactive in my devices. How do I make them active? Then you might have to check with our support team to see why it's showing up as inactive. It could be inactive. Is it because the device either is not registered? We might have to see. They may have to just like unregister it and re-register it again in My Zyxel, like remove it from either your account, or it could be that maybe your client took you off of the management, and yet on your side, you still have it shown as you're the manager and it's showing up as inactive. So we'd have to troubleshoot that. So if you see that, definitely let our support know. And also you have to make sure that, is it in My Zyxel side that's showing it as inactive, or is it in Marketplace that's showing it as inactive? And sometimes inactive, it depends on if it's inactive for services or is it inactive for the device, because services itself could be inactive. Like you could have bought a fully bundled USG device and turned on none of the UTM services, and a lot of them will say like inactive, and then you have to activate them within My Zyxel for it to kind of start its services. So it just depends on that view. So definitely reach out. All right, so let's go. And I also wanted to remind you as well, our products, including the USG Flex, are both Amazon, AWS, and Microsoft Azure certified. We're one of the few brands, one of 7 brands in the world that actually have a VPN gateway that's validated for both of these technologies and both of these cloud services. So definitely check out these if you're doing those kinds of applications. Building a VPN secured certified tunnel to the Amazon cloud or to Microsoft cloud to doing those kinds of applications and services. So definitely choose Zyxel in that. And of course, if you haven't noticed already, if you haven't been informed, we recently in the Q3 timeframe, we've upgraded our bronze tier customers to a basic discount. Our silver still has a major discount. And of course, gold is our best tier, which provides you the maximum discounts possible. We provide all sorts of deal registrations and support through our different distributors, D&H, Ingram, Synix, Wave, and Target Distribution. In order to maintain, if you are a new partner or looking to become a partner, you usually start out in the silver tier, and all you have to do is maintain 6K per half-year period, and that allows for you to stay there. And of course, we want you to move to the 12K, minimum there, so you can get the gold and maximum discounts that are available. Of course, you can still use deal registrations, trade-ins as well. Like I mentioned, especially for USG to USG Flex, we offer trade-up, discounts to allow for that on top of the security license kind of transfer capabilities as well. And you think about 12K for, a 6-month period, that's 2K a month. That's literally, 2 or 3 firewalls, maybe a month that you're selling. And that's not even counting, the switches and the access points that you would probably typically sell into that kind of network. So 12K is not that hard, especially if you're doing a lot more business in the networking space. And you'll find out too that the USG and our products in general have a lot of different applications that can fit in a lot of different needs, especially for networking. So definitely keep us in mind when you are speccing out any kind of networking solutions out there. All right, so now it's your turn. If you have any questions, if you didn't ask anything during the process here, feel free to go ahead and ask me questions now. If there are no questions, or maybe something just triggers in your mind a little bit later, you can always email me at try@zyxel.com. And also, I appreciate any of your comments. If you have any ideas of kind of other things you want to learn about, any specific topics, any technologies, send me an email as well. It will help me to kind of put together other tech talks so that we can come here and chat about, and we can inform on how Zyxel has solutions for you in those kinds of areas. So if there are no other questions at the moment, then I thank you and appreciate you spending the time, last 50 minutes or so with me. I know your time is precious, and so we thank you. We hope that you continue to stay safe and continue to push on through business, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining Zyxel's Tech Talk.